Well, hi, everyone. Welcome to Bold. I'm Kirsten Hagland, and this is the second official episode of Bold Life. We want to thank you all so much for the love and support that you showed for our first episode. It was so much fun, and I'm really, really excited for today's show. Bold Life is brought to you by Independent Women's Forum, which is a nonprofit dedicated to developing and advancing policies that aren't just well-intended, but actually enhance people's freedom, choices, and opportunities. Our Bold Life show will help you live your boldest life. We cover entertainment, relationships, and a whole lot of other things, as you'll see today, because we've got segments on the Olympics, this month's beauty trends, and we're actually starting off with sports. So get ready for a great show. Remember, I'm going to be taking your questions throughout the show live. So if you have something on your mind you want to ask me or one of our incredible guests, please just type something in the comments, Facebook or Twitter, and we will try to get to those questions. So for our first segment, we have Tim Marcin. He's a sports writer at Newsweek. He's going to give us a recap of last weekend's Super Bowl, ads, halftime show, great plays, and more. So welcome, Tim.
Hi, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So who were you rooting for, and where did you watch the Super Bowl? Were you at a party, or were you taking notes?
Well, I was taking notes. I'm nothing if not dedicated to writing and putting up content on the internet. So I was staying at home and I was watching, taking notes, and wrote a couple stories. I guess if anything, I was rooting for the Philadelphia Eagles. I grew up outside of there, outside of Philadelphia in Wilmington, Delaware. Yeah. So I was kind of like I was a kid who really loved the team, and it was all coming back to me all at once watching the Super Bowl, and they won, which was super exciting.
Yeah, it was incredible. I'm kind of a fair weather football fan. Sure. I kind of start to get into it during the playoffs. Yeah. And I just, like Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, they've just been too many times. They've won too many times. I just wanted someone else to win. And I do love Philadelphia, this city, and the sports fans are interesting, as we've come to see.
It's a good word for it.
But this was just a really cool underdog story, you know, not just, even for people who are not huge football fans. Nick Foles, quarterback, who was not, is not the original. He came in, right? He was the backup?
Yeah, he was the backup. He had actually played for the Eagles before and was kind of, he'd been through a lot. He'd been benched a few times. He considered retiring at one point. And then he just had this great comeback story of leading a team to the Super Bowl after the Eagles' star young quarterback Carson Wentz got hurt. And I think, you mentioned Philadelphia fans being interesting. It was a weird experience for people from Philly to be the beloved team. Usually they're the team that everybody's rooting against. Oh, we hate those people from Philly. Nobody likes us. But they were the underdog that everybody loved, and it was interesting to see that play out. Yeah,
I was so excited for them. And Doug Peterson, too, the coach, or Peterson.
Yeah, Peterson.
Is, excuse me.
It's a tough one to spell because it's spelled Pedersen. Yeah, it's spelled Pedersen.
But, yes, also someone relatively new. So it was nice to see that. Tell us about the reactions to the halftime show, because I personally watched the second half of it and I wasn't super impressed, but it was kind of controversial with the Prince stuff, and what was kind of the fallout from that? Yeah,
it was I guess controversial halftime show. I think the reactions ranged from, I know people who love Justin Timberlake are going to love the show no matter what. There was some people who thought it was just kind of average or nothing too exciting, and then there were the people who were upset about the Prince tribute or using Prince's image because they felt that wasn't something Prince would have wanted. He wouldn't have wanted to be a part of Justin Timberlake's halftime show. There was the rumor that there was going to be a hologram, which Prince in his when he was alive said he did not like at all, and he thought it was demonic. I think was the word. Yeah, so,
those are really strong words, right?
So people were really against the idea of a hologram, which they didn't do. They ended up having a projection, which some people felt, why is Justin Timberlake using Prince's image at all? But it was in Minnesota, and obviously Prince was from Minnesota, and everybody loved him there.
Yeah. So, and what happened with Selfie Kid?
Oh,
Talk about selfie kid.
He was the luckiest kid at the Super Bowl. He got a great selfie. A lot of people thought he was the star of the show. So Justin Timberlake went up into the stands, and there's this little kid getting a selfie, and people really loved it. And it's funny how things like that end up coming out of every Super Bowl, little sideshows.
Yeah, so darn cute.
Yeah, it was cute.
So everyone always talks about the Super Bowl ads, and also for people who are not huge football fans, that can kind of be fun.
Sure.
What was your favorite? Did you have a favorite?
I did. I personally loved the Tide ad ones. So the whole idea was, oh, it's a secret Tide ad because everybody's shirts are clean, and they're making fun of the fun beer commercial and the weird perfume commercial where you can't really tell what it is.
Yeah.
It had the sheriff from Stranger Things out there doing kind of tongue-in-cheek jokes.
We actually I think we have the video, so let's watch, because this one, was pretty funny.
Hello again, ladies. Is your man the kind of man who would climb the height? I'm in a Tide ad.
Nice pants.
Get off my horse.
I love that guy. And it goes on to scroll through like all the other predictable, and it really sticks with you. I mean, it serves the purpose of an ad.
Yeah, I mean, I came away remembering a lot about, the Tide ads, and it was creative. It was saying, we're going to do something different and try to make you laugh a little bit by making fun of everything else you're seeing.
Yeah, and I've always wondered, is it really worth the, what is the price tag now of a 30-second ad?
I think it was around $5 million this year. I could be wrong, but I think it was around $5 million this year.
Yeah, is it really worth it for these brands, do you think?
I think you get a ton of exposure. I think for a brand like Tide, it's probably just reminding people that you're there. I mean, everybody knows Tide, but it's reminding people kind of, I guess, subliminally, hey, we're a brand that you should use the next time you have to wash your clothes.
Like, I don't know. And does Tide really have a lot of intense competition that it's trying to ward off? I don't know. I use Tide all the time.
Is coming on strong, I guess. I don't know.
I guess. The other ad that I really loved was the NFL Dirty Dancing.
I did like
ad.
That. Yeah.
Do we have video of that? So stinking cute.
It was good.
And you know what a lot of people don't realize? I grew up as a ballet dancer, and a lot of people would say, oh yeah, a lot of football players do ballet or dance or will take a class every once in a while. It's not like they're in the studio with point shoes, but because it helps with a lot of the footwork and balance and stability and stuff. And those guys in that commercial, they did a great job. I mean, they must have had a class too.
People don't realize those big, because they have offensive linemen who are the biggest guys on the field out there. They have great feet. They spend all game running around like with careful footwork. I thought it was great, and it's funny, and it was great to see reactions. It was a mix of people who love football who were like, "Which movie is this from again?" And then everybody else going, "It's Dirty Dancing!" Like, so it was good to get the people who maybe aren't the biggest football fans involved with the football advertising.
Yeah. Now that you cover football and what other sports do you cover?
Basketball, a little mix of everything.
Okay, so are you, when the Super Bowl is here and gone, you feel relieved and are you ready to move on to the next sport? You kind of miss it?
It's a little relief, but I do miss it. It's fun. And the Super Bowl is such a, I like the culture of sports, and the Super Bowl is such a fun cultural event that gets everybody together. It's really great, and it's fun how different people take away different things, like either selfie kid or the touchdown pass from Nick Foles. People latch on to different things, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Were you? Did you cover the parade, the celebration parade in Philadelphia?
I was watching pretty carefully. I covered a little bit. It's crazy. It's something people in Philadelphia didn't think they would ever have.
Yeah, I have been to Philadelphia, and I've been in many times, but for parade. I've been in the Philadelphia Thanksgiving Day parade several times, and it's so cool when you go around. If anyone's been to Philadelphia, and you know the Rocky Stairs, the Philadelphia Art Museum there, and it's this iconic place, but also. I don't know if you guys saw it went viral on Twitter. There were these two people that recreated the famous scene in World War II, the nurse picture with them kissing. There were these guys, and it went viral. It was so cool. Total strangers. This girl said, "Hey, if you want to recreate the photo, I'll meet you there and do it." Yeah. And they ended up doing it.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because I'm somewhat involved with Philly Twitter. I already followed that guy, and I saw him tweet like, "Hey, he was joking like, this is going to be me and your girlfriend on Broad Street tomorrow." And the girl was like, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's recreate it." And it's just a fun little story about people embracing a really great day.
Yeah.
And I went to the Phillies, the Philadelphia Phillies, the baseball team won the championship parade. Won the championship in 08.
Yes.
So I went to that one, and I can tell you that a parade in Philadelphia, just the whole city shuts down.
Yeah.
And streets are wide open, and you just kind of walk around and have a great day.
And it's such a good parade city, too, because they've got, I think it's Ben Franklin Parkway. It just goes straight through the city, and it's huge. And so it allows for a lot of crowds and, people to feel like they're a part of it.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was a really cold parade. And didn't 2 million people show up or something?
Something like that.
It was some crazy record.
It's always hard to get those estimates because it's done from, like, helicopters. And
it was the biggest crowd ever.
Yeah.
Right? That's all we know.
Yeah.
Nutty. Well, cool. All right. So moving on to basketball for the season.
Yeah,
right?
that's my next move. Gonna be writing about the NBA a lot.
All right, cool. And we've got till summer until we have to focus on championships for basketball, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Got a while ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Tim, thank you so much. So much fun chatting with you. Even for those of us who aren't huge football fans, you made it fun.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, we look forward to having you back.
Thanks.
Absolutely. So I'm excited to welcome our next guest, who is Tanya Ghahremani. She's going to discuss the Winter Olympics and New York Fashion Week, which is coming up. So Tanya is the Associate Lifestyle Editor at Bustle, and we welcome her to the show. Welcome, Tanya.
Thank you for having me.
Did I say your last name right?
You did.
Okay,
yes.
bravo. All right.
A little bit of a tough one.
Yeah, no, people have always pronounced my name wrong, so I always try to pronounce people's names right.
You did a good job.
So thank you. So we love Bustle, and so excited to have you here. A lot of great stories coming out of the Olympics, especially as it pertains to women. But before we kind of dive into some of the neat stories, opening ceremonies are happening tonight, 8 p.m.
Yes.
They actually happened live at 6 a.m.
It has already been completed.
Yes.
That time difference is a little bit rough. So there were, some people woke up early in the U.S. to watch the live stream, but if you are not such an early bird, they are streaming at 8 p.m. tonight, or airing at 8 p.m. tonight. And people were so excited about this opening ceremony, and it went off really, really well. People were very, very happy to see that Gangnam Style by Psy, the 2012 hit, was played during the opening ceremony. I know. Get ready for it to get stuck in your head all over again.
Awful.
And the closing song, actually, for 90s kids, people are going to find this very interesting. It was Never Let You Go by Jacaranda, which was one of the biggest songs from The Parent Trap.
Oh my goodness.
Right. The scene where Hallie and her mom are spending the day in London, that's where most 90s kids will know the song from. And it was the closing song in the ceremony.
That's nostalgic and wonderful.
I know. It touched my heart as a true 90s kid.
I love that. Now, did you get a sneak peek at the American team's wardrobe, their uniforms? Because that's always like a big deal every year, right? What they're wearing.
Yes. So honestly, I think the biggest thing that maybe overshadowed a lot of things for Team USA was the controversy about the flag bearer this year. So that's what more people were talking about.
Gotcha.
We had Luger, Erin Hamlin, she was the flag bearer, and really, really talented athlete, a great pick for Team USA. But there was controversy as she was tied with speed skater Shawnee Davis to be the flag bearer. As Olympic protocol goes, whenever there is a tie, there's a coin toss. So they did that, and Erin ended up winning. But Shawnee Davis took to Twitter saying that it was dishonorable. He was not happy with the decision. But nothing.
Why? It's a coin toss.
Right. Nothing wrong was done. So
that is so. Why do people get upset over stupid things? That seems so pointless. It's a coin toss.
It's a coin toss.
Oh, boy.
But yeah, the opening ceremony was beautiful. It looked like it was all happening on ice, which is very in theme with the Winter Games.
Yes, yeah.
And then all the countries, came out in alphabetical order as they do based on the Korean alphabet, led by Greece, the founding country. And North Korea and South Korea came out together for the first time since the 2006 Games.
Oh, okay. So they came out together in the 2006 games
They
as
did
well.
in
Okay.
Italy, yes.
All right, because I was going to say, yeah, that is pretty.
It was very historic.
Intense.
Yes. I mean, the first time it actually happened was in 2000. So it hasn't been many times that they've done this, but very historic and beautiful.
Yeah. Speaking of history, I did a little research because I knew that the Summer Games started before the Winter Olympic Games, but didn't know when. And they actually started in 1924.
Right.
In France, and they had kind of been circling around the same couple of countries, like London, Paris, a couple cities in the U.S., and then now finally they're branching out.
Yes.
And they're going to be in Beijing in 4 years, right?
Yes.
So, but speaking of non-traditional countries being involved in the Winter Olympics, talk about the Nigerian women's bobsled team.
I love this story so much.
Yes.
So, I mean, if anyone has seen the film Cool Runnings, I think the immediate comparison is just right there. It was a group of women competing for Nigeria. They are Nigerian Americans, all from Texas. They, in 2016, started a GoFundMe to start the first Nigerian women's bobsledding team. It would actually be the first African team to compete in bobsledding, just because, I mean, Nigeria, especially, is a sub-Saharan country. So whenever they came up with this idea, people were like, are you sure about that? But I mean, they pushed through. They got endorsement deals from Visa and Under Armour.
Wow.
And they made it to the 2018 Winter Olympics to compete for Nigeria. And the founding member of this group is a former Olympian herself, Sean Adigan. She competed in the Summer Olympics in 2012 for 100-meter hurdles. So she's no stranger to the games, but it will be Nigeria's first time competing in the bobsledding category. And their whole thing was that they wanted to inspire other African athletes to compete in winter sports, which, you know,
so incredible.
It isn't necessarily like done very often.
Yeah, and is that mostly just because they don't have access to?
Yes, I mean to
a snowy mountain.
Exactly.
I mean, as silly and you know as that sounds, is that the case?
Yeah, I mean to train, for instance, these girls, they built wooden sleds to train with.
Wow.
So I mean, it's exactly that. They don't really have access to these wintry environments.
Unbelievable. Yeah. That's really neat. That's exciting. Do we have the picture of them in their uniforms? Did we show them? They look so fierce.
I know, so beautiful.
They need to make a women's version of Cool Runnings.
I would watch that so fast.
Bobsled team. Oh
my gosh.
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. So obviously, we're all very, very excited about the Olympics, but I do want to get into Fashion Week just before you go. Men's Fashion Week first, Women's New York Fashion Week next. We're wrapping up New York Fashion Week for men.
Yes, we are.
Right now. Okay, so what are some trends? And then talk a little bit about, New York Times did a great article on a fashion show for menswear with no men.
Yes, right? So Fashion Week, yeah, that's it. Fashion Week this year has been extremely different. First of all, if we're going to talk about trends, berets have been the biggest thing that we're seeing so far, which is very, very interesting. I mean, just on top of being a very cute fashion trend, in my opinion, very French inspired.
I agree too. So if you're a guy,
love berets.
Yes.
But it's also very interesting because historically berets are a political revolutionary symbol, especially in the 70s, you know, most famously worn by the Black Panthers. So I think it's worth speculating that they're experiencing a resurgence because of our current political climate.
Interesting.
And even the Black Lives Matter movement. And as we have seen in the past years, I mean, fashion is growing increasingly political. So I think it's really interesting to see, and I can't wait to see more of it. And as for the non-binary models fashion show, it was a label called Kramer and Stute.
Okay.
They are an indie label, and they included models who are all wearing menswear, but none of them actually identify as male. They are all non-binary, which means that they don't identify as either male or female. And I think it shows a really interesting direction that the fashion industry is moving to increasingly, you know, include diverse models and
Yeah.
Exactly.
Now, my question is, do you think that, because you mentioned they're an indie label,
Yes.
do you think, obviously we want to believe that they have good intentions, but are they kind of just doing that to get their name in the New York Times and, get people to the fashion show, do you think?
Personally, I don't think so. I think,
well, that's good.
I mean, from what I've seen of their label and in the show, it seemed just like a very, very interesting and awesome way to promote gender equality and diversity, which is something that we need a lot more of, not only in the fashion industry, but in the world.
Yeah, and just one last thing to touch on for Women's Fashion Week next week.
Yes.
There's been a lot of talk about, okay, we really need to treat the models better backstage.
Yes.
In fact, we're reading that women are going to have private changing areas for the first time ever.
Yeah. Private changing areas are going to be a thing.
For the first time?
For the first time. I think that is because there's always been the concern from models that, with photographs taken and all these people running around backstage whenever they are changing, I mean, it's extremely uncomfortable and potentially even triggering for some models.
Hugely.
So it's amazing to see that big brands and fashion shows are taking steps to make sure that they are respecting models' feelings, and they're making sure that they're comfortable. And Condé Nast even has implemented new guidelines that say they're not going to work with models under the age of 18 anymore.
Good.
They will not be leaving models alone with photographers, makeup artists, any other crew. And there's now going to be an anonymous tip line that people can call if they have any sort of complaints or things to report.
Bravo.
Yeah, it's
That's
really great.
Incredible. Way too long in coming, but
it's a good step in the right direction.
Absolutely. Wow. So great. Thank you, Tanya, so much for updates on the games and
so much.
on Fashion Week. Thank you. And we look forward to having you back.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right. So thank you, Tanya, for sharing some really, really awesome insight. I know I can't wait for the Olympics to start. I always love figure skating. That's my absolute favorite sport to watch. I know that's probably so stereotypical. I was a former ballet dancer girl who likes to watch figure skating, but I do. I'm unapologetic. Also, downhill. Anything skiing downhill is amazing to me. And the Nigerian bobsled team. I'm really excited to watch them too. And I'm also really excited to have something else to watch on television besides just the news. And something besides Netflix. So anyway, hope that all of you who are tuning into the games find something that you enjoy and something to get you out of the stress of life. I think that sometimes watching sports can be such a great stress reliever. All right, so we are going to move on to our Good Housekeeping segment. And we're really, really excited to have Good Housekeeping's beauty director, April Franzino, who's with us. And she's going to tell us about the top 5 beauty trends for this month, which is February, but your name's April.
Yes.
But this is probably February and March, I would imagine.
We're getting into spring very slowly. So.
Yeah, exactly. Very slowly.
Yeah.
So first, tell us a little bit about yourself and your role at Good Housekeeping.
Sure. So I'm beauty director at Good Housekeeping, which means I oversee all of the beauty content in the magazine. So everything from makeup to skincare, hair care, trends, fragrance, anything fun and lots of times girly in that area. So
that's a lot to cover.
Super fun.
Yeah.
Yes. And there's always new and exciting things, which is the best part of the job.
Yeah. What's your favorite to cover? I'm just interested.
My favorite person, I don't know, it's a tricky question because I love the color trends and I love, seeing what's new and the artistry and that kind of thing for makeup, but I also love the science behind beauty too and what's new in skincare and what really works, and that's something that we really focus on at Good Housekeeping. We actually have a beauty lab in our office building at Hearst in New York City.
Amazing.
Where we have a team of scientists and chemists that test products for us from skincare to hair care and beyond, so we know what really works, which is really exciting. So we can take the trends and kind of find out what is worth buying and that type of thing for our reader.
Right, especially because I would imagine obviously there's a huge trend toward organic and things that are more clean, green, healthy for you and more natural, but at the same time there's always the warning bell that goes up. Is this actually going to work as much as the harsh chemicals?
It's so true.
Right?
And so we really get to ask them, what's the story behind these ingredients? How does this work? And so it's the best resource, I feel like. So it makes every day super exciting. So
okay, it's good to know that you guys you have that test labs.
Yeah.
You know, you can actually trust. Yeah.
For sure.
Okay, so let's talk top
We have a lot of fun
5
stuff.
beauty trends. Yes, this all actually
I
just want
know.
to steal
It's
it all.
like a little candy store going on here. So
Yes.
first we'll start with color, which is sort of what I talked about before. And one of the biggest trends right now that I'm loving and that you'll see everywhere, from your hair accessories to even hair color, makeup obviously, is rose gold. So rose gold is it's sort of like this season's version of like millennial pink. Your phone's rose gold. It's sort of like the next version of that. And I think it's because it's really flattering and it looks beautiful on your face, whether you wear it as makeup or in your accessories and that type of thing. So you'll see it in everything from palettes to like perfume bottles and beyond. And we actually made a special edition lipstick with a brand called Au Naturel Cosmetics called GH Rose Glow. And it was sort of based on the idea of this trend of rose gold. So it's the perfect mix of like a classic rose with a little bit of a golden hint to it that modernizes it and makes it really, really flattering. And I'm actually wearing it. So that's
beautiful.
kind of fun. So we love rose gold, and you can streak your hair with it, go crazy, or you could just do something more subtle.
Now,
wear like a pretty lipstick. So
that's fun. I
Yeah.
didn't think of streaking my hair
you
with it.
totally could. And it's actually, if you want to try a different hair color, it's kind of a nice way. It's not like a blue or a green where it's a little too crazy. It's a little subtle. You could do it like underneath,
Yeah.
peak of something fun. So
I love
that's
that.
rose gold. And then speaking of hair, one of the biggest trends right now is embracing your natural texture. So air drying your hair. There are products that are coming out, whether they're sprays or creams or mousses, that are made to be put in your damp hair so that it will air dry and look nice, which is kind of cool. It saves you time. It's like, who doesn't want to kind of just wash and go? So
Yes.
brands are coming out with products that help you do that in a way that actually can look nice. So
Amazing. Can you talk a little bit about what each
Sure.
one of these are?
yeah, so basically, if you are choosing a product to help you air dry your hair, you would choose it by your hair texture. So if you have fine hair, you would probably choose something like a spray, where it's lightweight, but it'll give you like a little bit of texture. And then if you had medium hair, you would probably do something more like a mousse, which gives you a little bit more hold and smooths you out a little bit. And then if you had thicker hair, you would do something like more like a cream, which polishes a little bit more because you can tend to get frizz and stuff when you have thicker hair. So
Such a
yeah,
good
so there's
idea.
options for all kinds of textures, and it's really kind of a neat way. It's like one of the easiest trends is just kind of embracing what you already have. So we love that.
And it's so healthy for your hair.
Yes, it gives your hair a break from hot tools, which is so great as well.
Yes, I know, because obviously doing this job, I have to,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
always
always-
blow drying and putting heat on
Yeah.
it. So, okay, next week, guys, I'm going to come in with wet hair.
Even if you only do it on the weekend, it will still help over time to just
you a
kind of like give
break.
you a break. So so we love that trend for hair. And then moving along to a little bit more of skincare. Everybody knows that like Greek yogurt is such a hot trend in nutrition. Everyone's obsessed with it. And so probiotics and sort of yogurt based ingredients are really popular in skincare now. And that's because how
Interesting.
probiotics work in, for your body is they basically, they help to sort of balance the bacteria that naturally occurs and, bring it to a place where you're not, you're healthiest. And so it's the same idea for skin. So if you have inflammation, redness, acne, and that type of thing, probiotics for skin are supposed to do the same thing.
Interesting.
On your
Okay,
face.
so now does that actually work? That's so Beauty Lab coming in
So,
because you think that's it's so related to gut health and the bacteria in your gut.
Yeah.
So does it really work?
So we had that's a great question. So I actually brought some of these products to our Beauty Lab scientists, and I was like, okay, are they just sprinkling a little yogurt in this and like calling it something?
Jacking
And-
up the price, $10.
Yeah. And so it is. They actually, a lot of these, if you look at the ingredients, you'll see the strains of probiotics of bacteria in them. And it's hard to tell per specific products whether the level or the type of bacteria is efficacious. But generally, there are studies that have shown that topically applied probiotics can be helpful to skin, especially that's inflamed or that has acne. So yeah, so it's really interesting. So it's a cool trend. There's masks everywhere from the drugstore, from brands like Yes2 up until the high end. So kind of take your pick from that. So you can have your yogurt inside and out, which is kind of cool.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, and then moving on to another fun sort of makeup trend, everything now is about iridescent skin. So it's sort of this super glowy, really like reflective kind of finish on your skin, whether you use a little highlighter or I like to do a little inner corner of my eye to sort of brighten up. There's everything from powders if you want to go full on and do it kind of like all over your face for like a night out. Or you can just do something more subtle with like a cream formula. You could even take like a little lotion, which is more diluted, and mix it with your foundation to kind of get a glow that way too. Or one of these drops, which you can mix with basically any kind of makeup product So that's kind of fun too.
So, that one terrifies me because I've always had, my mom's Italian, so she has beautiful skin, but she's had oily skin all her life, and I inherited that. And so anything that's shiny to me, I'm like, get it away.
I know. Well, now you can embrace your natural shine, and you might not even need a lot of
natural hair, natural shine. Like,
you've got it all going on.
Who needs products?
Yes. So then, last but not least, super important for this time of year is moisturization. So it's so dry out, especially here in New York. It's freezing, and everybody's feels like their skin is peeling off essentially. So brands are sort of responding to that, and also your hair tends to be drier this time of year, and they're launching products that are basically balms for all over your body. So everyone knows lip balms are great for hydrating their lips, and now you can get balms for your face, for your body, for even your hair, which are basically super concentrated forms, usually with natural oils and butters and things like that, that really help to hydrate and intensely kind of seal in the moisture in your skin. So we love those. So there's literally ones for your body, for your hair, and even your eye area, which is kind of interesting too, because that tends to be creepiest and driest. So interesting. Because there's no oil glands there. So yeah, so you can basically cover yourself from head to toe in balms, which is kind of fun, and I love those. So
I love that. I think that every woman who's watching this needs to go home and have a spa day.
Yeah, and they're so indulgent, and they feel really nice too. And there's actually even facial cleansers that are balms so they leave like a little bit of, it's almost like having like a face mask, so it's really indulgent. And I love using them in the winter too.
It seems like there's just a real trend generally in beauty to be like, let's stop trying to change what we have and morph into something else, or kind of beat through our beauty routine, beat our body into submission. Yeah, but to just accept and to enhance what's already there.
Definitely, for sure. It's all about that, and feeling good is such a big part of that. So most of these things will make you feel good too.
I love it. This was wonderful. Thank you
so much. I really appreciate you having me.
Thank you, April, and thanks for all your great work at Good Housekeeping, and we'll hope to see you back soon.
Love that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, and I've got my rose gold phone, so I am very on trend, even though I got it a year ago, apparently. And next week, that means I'm going to come in with wet hair, and I'm not going to wear any makeup. I'm just going to put shiny cream on. And we will have a really, really fun show, and you're just going to have to enjoy it. So thank you, April. And we're looking forward to having those Good Housekeeping segments every week, because there's lots of great stuff to talk about. Food, obviously, they've got the test kitchen, the food lab, and now the beauty lab that we hear about. So really can't wait to bring that to you guys. A really nice inside scoop and insight from the experts. So let's move right on to our next segment, which is brought to you by one of our bold partners, Independent Women's Forum. We have Julie Gunlock, a senior fellow at IWF, who's joining us via Skype. Welcome, Julie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you. We also have Joshua David Stein from Fatherly and Danielle Campoamor. Did I get it? Nailed it. So excited to have them. Danielle is from Romper, and we've got both of them in studio. So today we're going to be talking about the video of Tom Brady kissing his son on the lips. Okay. Julie, let's start with you. Julie, some people tweeted their support for Brady, but he also got a lot of criticism. So where do you stand, and what did you think when you saw the reactions online?
I was shocked. I mean, I thought this was a sweet moment between a father and a son. And really, I thought it was pretty weird that people were taking this as somehow inappropriate. I mean, let's talk about the sort of unspoken subtext here. The critics were suggesting that he was sharing some sort of sexual kiss with his son. They said that the kiss went on too long. It's just strange to me. I think that these are normal interactions between parents. And I mean, look, Twitter's going to Twitter, right? People are going to, criticize. They look, and if we're not upset about something, we'll make something up. And I think that's a little bit of the situation, but it frustrates me. I think that there is this idea that dads and their sons can't show affection or something. I don't know. It was very frustrating to me. I wrote a piece. I was kind of disgusted with the disgust. And I thought it was a perfectly normal interaction between a son and a very loving father.
Okay, so Joshua, I read your piece. I read everyone's. It's very interesting. And I have my own view too. Okay, but Joshua, you have a little bit of a different take on this, which I thought was really interesting. So why don't you share?
Yeah, well, I think I would push back first that it's Tom Brady kissing his son, right? Because if you look at the video, it's his son comes up and kisses Tom Brady, right? So that's one thing. I think also generally it's being misread or being read with a lack of subtlety. I have no problem with the length of the kiss or the kiss whatsoever, per se. I think it was long, but I think that was, if you watch the video, basically his son's kind of not mocking his dad, but like, oh yeah, you want a kiss? Okay, I'll give you a kiss. And then he gives it a little bit too long. So within that context, it's fine. I have no problem. And I share the alarm of the alarm. But that's the first one I think that you're seeing. But what I do have a significant problem with is, yep, that's it.
He wipes his mouth. It's definitely a classic little boy thing.
If you look at the dynamic of what happened, the kid, Jack, I think, wanted to check his fantasy football standings, right? Cool. His dad demands something. What do I get, he says. The kid gives him a kiss. And then Tom, who I don't like because I'm from Philadelphia anyway, so take that, Tom Brady. But then Tom says, oh, that was just a peck, right? So that's not enough. And then that dude who's massaging his shoulder, which it didn't matter in the Super Bowl anyway because they lost and it was wonderful. That dude is like, you don't get something for nothing, bud, or something like that. Everything comes with a cost. And then the kid you can see him make this calculation in his head that, oh, well, the currency that I have to give is physical affection. And I think that itself, not the act of the kiss, is problematic. And like, again, I didn't stay up all night agonizing about how inappropriate it was, but if Twitter's gonna Twitter and you have to feel outrage, the outrage is misplaced on the duration of the kiss and more around the issues of coercion around it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really, really great point. And
yes.
No, it's true. We should, if we are going to be outraged about something or it's going to trend on Twitter, let's actually try to analyze it in a way that's helpful and moves society forward rather than just descends into mass chaos. But Danielle, also, you've got a different take now too, but I would love for you to share what your article was about.
I mean, I'm not surprised. We do this every couple of years. A celebrity kisses their child on the lips and all of a sudden it's this big deal. So it's not surprising. I mean, do we really have to do this? Just let him go home and cry about losing a Super Bowl. Like, just leave him alone.
Right.
But because we are now in this current climate, we can use this as a really actual beneficial learning tool. And like you had mentioned, consent is such a important topic that we need to be speaking with our kids at any time, especially at a young age and younger still. So I think instead of the kiss, we can look at, again, the consent around it. Is it great for parents to show affection to their children? Of course. I would argue, especially male parents, that sends a very important message to our children, especially our young men, that there are other emotions that you are allowed and encouraged to show besides just rage and maybe overt sexual violence.
And sadness.
And right, so you can be sad when you lose a Super Bowl, and you can show non-sexual, consensual
touch.
Exactly, with other people that you care about. There are multiple ways to love someone. It doesn't always have to be a sexual love. I mean, those are all really great lessons to teach, especially young men now in this climate, I think more importantly than ever. So let's just reframe the narrative. It's not about a parent sharing a kiss on the lips with their child. It's about consensual affection.
Yeah. And you talked about your experience with your own son, and I think that that's also a part of this conversation, and Julia, will invite you back in here, is about the judginess from other parents, right? Well, I don't do this with my children, and so why are you doing it? Or, vice versa. And that's like, why does everyone feel like, and I don't have children, so I can't speak from that position, but it just seems to me that my role has to be yours, and that kind of climate is just so hard to exist in as a parent, I would imagine.
It is, but again, I think that it's important that we look at the positives here, and that can be a very positive thing, is opening dialogue, and this is how I show affection with my child. How do you show affection? Again, we just have to kind of look inward. Why are we attacking parents? Normally it's because we feel maybe like we're not super excited about our own choices or just maybe a little unsure as what we're doing as parents. So if you have the capacity to look inward and to see why this is enraging, and then have the maturity to open a dialogue as to why other parents make different decisions, again, this can be a great learning opportunity.
I think for me, it's like, I think about introspection as well. Like I have 2 sons, and I kiss them on the lips.
Love it.
You know?
It's amazing.
But it's, how does it feel for me? How does it feel for them? Like, you can't go by the you can't use the outrage of other parents or the judgment as a barometer. You have to think, well, what is it for me, and what does it function in our society or our individual, interrelationship?
Yeah, I just Facebook is kind of blowing up on this. We got Cheyenne Reed who said, "Shouldn't we teach our sons that affection is important?" Which I think we've talked about that. Yeah, it is. Zachary says, "How much of this outrage is because we're all jealous that we aren't Tom Brady?"
None, because he's a loser.
He has 5 Super Bowl rings. So
you know what I'm jealous of Tom Brady about?
This year.
I'm jealous that Tom Brady makes enough money that he can afford like his own vegan chef and like.
Look,
that
I
kind
think
of thing.
Tom Brady.
That's what I'm jealous
Tom Brady
of.
is a trash person, but he is a very, very good.
Bold Life is about positivity, people.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's all good.
It's a beautiful piece of trash.
It's a beautiful piece of trash.
But his relationship as a father, I would say, of everything I see, it is really wonderful. And
Yeah.
like his relationship with Giselle is, remember that quote that he can't throw and catch the balls himself when they lost the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
It was like the last time. Or was it Super Bowl? Anyway, just like their relationship is great. His relationship with his kids, by and large, is like everything it should be.
Right.
I think in this case, this specific instance, like I said, there's no problem with the kiss. He's not a perfect dad. I don't think that you should you shouldn't instill in children the idea that affection, your physicality, your body is currency for anything else.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
I think that actually has.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interrupt.
Julie.
I respect
alarmed.
what you're saying about consent and coercion, but I also think we're taking this a little too seriously. I mean, I constantly coerce my children to do things, and
Do you constantly coerce them though, using their bodies as a currency?
No, but yes, but I mean, I think that phrase, using their body as a currency, is a little overly serious about what we're talking about. He was kidding. I think the masseuse was kidding. Like, what do you get? I mean, I think we also have to realize that we're losing our sense of humor about this. This is a dad and a guy kind of kidding around with this kid. I don't think that they were suggesting he use his body or the kiss as a currency. I mean, I understand this is a good opportunity to have a conversation, but there weren't good conversations on Twitter. There was nothing but criticism and sort of, again, this unspoken subtext that this was a dirty or, there was pedophilia involved in this, and I think that's something
sure,
serious.
But you're responding to two different things. I'm not making at all the case that this is dirty or has any issues with pedophilia. I'm making the case that when you are using bodies as currency, which I actually think this is, even though you might disagree and think it's alarmist, I think if you distill it into its essence, that's what it is, even though it hasn't reached a level of victimization or outrage or anything like that, but you are instilling a lesson in children.
Yeah. I think it's interesting. I'm glad that we're having a constructive conversation actually about this, which I think is much different than the Twitter conversation, because there are obviously different opinions here. What is interesting, and I'm glad that we can provide on this show, is that we have experts and people who are doing this in a calm and kind way, discussing this, rather than what I think the Twitter sphere provides is just everyone has an opinion. And it doesn't matter if you have kids or not. It doesn't matter if you've experienced this or not. And like, what I just want to end with is, why does everyone feel like they need to be angry and put their opinion out there about everything? Like,
I think
that's the nature of Twitter. I think Twitter just invites that. And I think, obviously you had mentioned there's a lot of people who don't like Tom Brady, including my husband. I don't really have an opinion on him, but so I think that sort of invites this kind of thing that, I said, Twitter will tweet, and that's the way it is. And I don't think that it is a format for constructive conversation, which brings up another issue. I'm always amazed that these famous parents have Twitter accounts. I feel like, why do you put yourself out there? I mean, you're inviting this kind of criticism. But again, that's a whole nother show.
Do you have a Twitter account?
Yeah. Yes, she does.
But I'm not famous.
She's at Julie Gunlock, right?
That's right.
At Julie Gunlock. So, okay, we're not going to solve any of the world's problems in this segment, but this was a really, really great conversation, though. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. And really look forward to having you guys back. A lot of diverse opinions and all of them worthy. So thank you, Julie, as always, an Independent Women's Forum, Joshua David Stein from Fatherly, and Danielle Campoamor from Romper. We look forward to having you guys back again soon.
Thank you.
For the next debate, next parenting debate. Super exciting. Yeah, well, at least football's over, and we don't have to talk about football or Tom Brady anymore till the next celebrity kisses their kid or grows their child's hair out too long or whatever, and we can argue about that. But anyway, moving on. The next segment on our weekly Bold Women segment involves our host, Francesca Lana, who is going to be joining us on Skype, I think, in just a little bit, along with her guest for today. And let me tell you a little bit about her guest before we bring her on. So first, Francesca is, she's the co-founder of ERA International and NetworkHER, which we met Francesca last week. And she lives in London, and she splits her time actually between London and New York and a couple other cities. But she started NetworkHER as an organization which exists to connect women and to empower them. And so kind of the concept of the Bold Women segment, which Francesca hosts, is she brings on interesting guests and people that are involved with NetworkHER and that she's met who are all about empowering women either with their businesses or their organizations or philanthropy and just how they support other women. And I also love, too, that we do this show on Facebook Live because it is an opportunity for you guys in the comments, if you're women who are watching this show, if you're an entrepreneur, if you have an idea or you want to connect to other people, connect in the comments, write us and let us know what you're doing. Maybe we can have you on the show. So we kind of want to try to exist too, to be a catalyst for that kind of empowerment as well. So do we have Francesca and Jackie on? Perfecto. All right. So let's go to London. Hey guys.
Good afternoon, Kirsten. First of all, I'm so happy to be here with all of you today for our second segment of Bold Women.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we're so excited to have you. And so you're there with Jackie, Jackie Cuyvers. Am I saying your last name right? Okay, so hi, Jackie. I've met Jackie before, too. It's lovely to see you both. So, Francesca, introduce us to Jackie and why you chose her as our bold woman.
All right. So Jackie is a wonderful, bold woman, and she's a very good friend of mine. I really love Jackie. Jackie is an entrepreneur and a social intelligence professional. She has a successful track record of launching and building businesses, as well as supporting women's entrepreneurship globally. Jackie has over 15 years of experiences in digital marketing and social media strategy. And in addition to managing Convosphere, she is my co-founder in NetworkHER.
Amazing. And so, Jackie, welcome. Why don't you tell us about your business? And I love, too, that you're an American now living in London and have built this successful business. Tell us about your involvement with NetworkHER, as well as you're the CEO of Convosphere, which is a digital marketing and social media strategy organization. So tell us a little bit about both.
Well, thanks for having me, Kristen, and thanks for the lovely introduction.
Yeah.
So I work as the CEO of Convosphere, and that is a social listening and analytics services and technology company. So for what that means is we're taking online conversations from around the world and using those to answer strategic business questions. So conversations that you may be having on social media, putting those in context of other data sets, and using that for market research or other business questions to deliver impact to the client organization.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that on Facebook, Cheyenne is saying, wow, Jackie is impressive. And you are. You both are. Talk a little bit about how you work together, because I know, Jackie, you've helped a lot with NetworkHER with your skill set. So talk a little bit about the intersectionality of what you both do.
So I met Jackie 5 years ago on an event for connective women, influencers, and entrepreneurs. And we clicked straight away. We are, we have same passions. We are like-minded. We love supporting other women. We love empower women. And if I can say something, Jackie is a real inspirational woman. I love her. She's a mother of 3 children. She's a super businesswoman.
And a CEO.
And absolutely. She's CEO in a technology business, and she's a leader on the power social media. Her passion of social media and digital shows in her approach to work. And I have to say, she's so creative, inspiring, trustworthy, a real hard worker. She's super fast, and in one word, she's fabulous.
Fabulous. And you know what I love about Jackie too is she's really nice. And to be that successful, a CEO, a mother with 3 children, which is an exceptionally busy life, and you're a kind person. So, Jackie, was that intentional? Is that just who you are as a person? How do you balance it all and still be nice to people? I'm asking that from New York City, where people are that busy are usually not that nice.
No, so as Francesca said, I genuinely care about women's entrepreneurship and helping support other women. We did meet at that event here in London, but previous to that, I was leading women's entrepreneurship incubators in Chicago alongside my job. So although my career has been moving down this digital path, connecting with other inspirational women, empowering women entrepreneurs has been a passion of mine. So I was doing that in the US. I'm continuing to do it here in London. And it really brings me joy helping other women be successful.
It's true. When we met in the first place and we shared our passions and we start to know each other better, we realized that we really could, first of all, become very good friends, because now Jackie is for me like a sister more than a friend. And second of all, we really realized that we could really empower women, do something for women, because as I said, even last week, more we travel, because we travel a lot. We do many conferences. I also would like to say that we have another co-founder with us that unfortunately, she couldn't be here, but she will be in another segment. Because at the moment is traveling in Asia, doing conferences as well, and she's a Lika Dusobi, and she's in oil and gas business. So each of us are different. We come from different backgrounds, different nationalities, and we have different fields. But what is in common is this big heart and passion to support women, like you, Kirsten. We are I think we are very similar in this case. But I would like to ask a question to Jackie, because I'm sure that everybody are watching us are curious to know, because she's a CEO of technology business, I would like to know, first of all, how did she get there in the first place? And how can she find a balance, that kind of balance which we all strive for, because she's a mother of 3 children. She's a wonderful wife. She travels and works a lot. So how can you do all of this?
Well, I think the short answer is on how do you do all of it. I think you do the best that you can. I don't think there is such a thing as balance. I think that how you manage your time, both in work and home, you try and take the best approach you can, and try and give time where you can, and attention and focus where you can. So I although I'm in technology and I've always had a passion for tech, my interest has come from the overlapping of art and science. So my undergraduate degree was in the scientific analysis of artists' methods and materials.
Wow.
Then my master's degree was MBA in international marketing. But for me, I think social insights and social media analytics is, again, that combination of art and science. You're taking conversations which, by their very nature, are subjective, and they're not hard data, and you're taking a strategic approach to taking these questions and trying to use them to answer business questions, which again is very scientific or formulaic. And it's that marriage of technology and human insight that allows us to develop insights and recommendations for our clients. So it's that art and science. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I think my children see how fulfilled and how happy I am
very important.
working.
Absolutely.
And that they know the time that I spend away from them, I'm doing things that help solve business problems, that make me feel fulfilled and successful as a person, and that they are good with knowing that I'm having this kind of life outside their family experience.
Yeah.
The time that I spend with them is then focused on them. And I'm a happier, more fulfilled mother for being fulfilled and happy in my work.
Absolutely.
Problems.
Yeah.
So I think you are an absolute wealth of knowledge. Yes. And because I know her, very well, I know that she's a wonderful mother. When she's with her children, she's very focused. But I would like to ask also, what are some of the global trends in social media?
So some of the global trends are that that the content that's being shared online and the way it's being shared is changing. So there's currently just over 7.5 billion people in the world. Half of them are online. The other half are coming online in the next 10 years, and they will be coming on in their own local languages and primarily from mobile devices. So those local languages will be incorporating text speech. So incorporating numbers, abbreviations that are relevant to the location and the language. And then emojis are the fastest growing language
we were talking about
in the world. But how emojis are used and understood is, again, relevant to a specific culture or even a specific demographic or age group. So understanding what's being said online is going to become more challenging and more difficult for machines. So you will need people who understand the cultural context and the local language to bring out the relevant insight. And
tell me something, Jackie. Tell us something. Where do you see like the biggest shift in how social insight are used?
Yeah. So traditionally, it's been used in advertising, marketing, PR, as kind of an informational tool for market research or tracking campaigns. But where I see one of the biggest differences is that it's going to be used in politics. So replacing traditional polling. So polls assume that you're asking the right questions to the right people and that they're answering honestly. Using unsolicited online conversation, we can do social and digital ethnography, which tells you how people really feel and can help better predict potential political campaigns and wins, often much better than traditional polling. So I think that's
very interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you know what, guys, we're going to have to wrap. But Francesca, I know that you've got one last question for Jackie. That's going to be our signature question for every bold woman.
Your question. I have to say to Jackie, just the last one. What's your top tips on being a bold woman?
Yeah. So I would say follow your passion and surround yourself with people, women or a community who is as passionate and as driven as you are, and do your best to give back because the more you give of your time, focus, energy in supporting others achieve their dreams, the more that it helps everyone.
We raise by lifting others, basically. Absolutely. I agree with you 100%.
Yeah.
Amazing. Francesca and Jackie, thank you so much for your time. Francesca, thank you as always for bringing us such inspirational women. And I want you to hear, Jackie, that in our Facebook comments, Nam says, love Super Jackie. Natalia says, Jackie is an inspiration for all of us women. And Emmanuel says, working with Jackie empowers you and inspires you. She's an amazing boss, and I'm glad to have earned her trust and be a part of the Convosphere adventure. So it's truly not just talk. You practice what you preach, girl.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kirsten.
Thank you both so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. So we're just moving on quickly to our last segment, but super exciting because we have an author here who's going to talk about her book. And this is our Bookster segment. And Bookster, if you haven't heard of it, is a website for book lovers and much, much more. Our author today is Rachel Lyon. Welcome, Rachel.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Okay, so you have brought your book.
Yes.
Tell us about it. Self-Portrait with Boy. Give us a little insight.
Yeah, so this book is about a photographer living in Brooklyn in 1991 who is taking a self-portrait a day. And on the day of her 400th self-portrait, there's a boy falling to his death behind her on the other side of the window.
Yeah, wow.
So she, it's a beautiful picture, and she sort of has to decide whether to use it to advance her career, or she's becoming close to his grieving mother. So is she going to use it? Is she going to be loyal to this mother? And that's the crux of the story.
Wow. So how long did it take you to come up with the idea and then to see and bring it to the finished product that we see?
Overall, I think it took about 6 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I was writing for a while. I think I was working with a few different concepts for a long time and working on background writing. So altogether, it took a while. But once I started really running with it, there was about a 1.5 year long period of rewriting.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was that the most difficult part, do you think?
I think the most difficult part was believing that it would finally be over.
Right? Perseverance.
Yeah.
So obviously the story, as you mentioned, is about a female photographer and then the challenges that she goes through from taking the picture and then on in the relationship, as you mentioned. Do you think some of the challenges would have been the same if you were writing about, say, a male photographer?
I don't think I ever could have written about a male photographer.
Interesting.
No, I think her challenges are very unique to her and to her time and place. So she's coming from a humble background. She doesn't have connections in New York City. She knows nobody, and she's kind of charmless. So it's hard for her to navigate this world. And she's working in 1991 when it was very difficult. I mean, it's still difficult. Women still face issues in the art world, but it was very difficult then for women to succeed.
Yeah, and you say particular to her time and place as well, and you say Brooklyn in the 1990s, which is very different from Brooklyn in almost 2020.
Yes.
And gentrification plays a role in that. You know, were you anywhere near Brooklyn in the 1990s? I mean, how has maybe your own experience shaped the writing process of that? And is gentrification still an issue in Brooklyn today?
It certainly
We know it is.
Yeah. So I grew up in a building similar to the one that she lives in the book, in Dumbo in the early 90s. So I was sort of part of that world of artists who had settled these old warehouses before they became living spaces. The loft law of 1982 passed, and sort of landlords were supposed to upgrade the living spaces that artists were technically squatting in, but a lot of them didn't. So over time, people got kicked out of their living spaces and resettled elsewhere.
Interesting. Yeah. And I would love to get your opinion as you've written about it in the book, and you mentioned that you lived there when you were young. I mean, I seem to think living in Manhattan, or generally, I mean, so many places in the 5 boroughs, it's just become a city for billionaires.
It's true. It's true. The separation between rich and poor seemed very difficult then. It's so much worse now.
Yeah.
It's so much more extreme.
Yeah, so interesting. So, and I would love to know too, I mean, there's so many people that want to write books and have ideas, whether it's fiction, nonfiction. Where did you get the motivation to even begin to sit down and start writing? And I also know from friends who have published, and not only self-published, but then, gone through the big 5 or whatever, that it's just such a challenging experience. So what motivated you? And then what encouragement can you give to authors out there who are working on a book?
Yeah. Well, it was something that I felt I always wanted to do. And I think I'm a person who needs a lot of external motivation, so I went to grad school, I took the classes, and I came out of grad school thinking, if I don't call myself a writer now, I'm never going to call myself a writer. So, but I tell my students, if you don't believe you're a writer, you're not a writer, right? A lot of people come to me when I teach and they call themselves aspiring writers. It's like, are you writing,
Yeah.
Then you're not aspiring anymore. So I think, you know, given my own experience of looking to things outside of myself to prove to myself who I was, I would like to bring to other people, you know, only you can really tell yourself who you are. You know?
Yeah, absolutely. So where can people find the book? Where is it available?
It's in local bookstores. It's at Barnes & Noble. It's on Amazon. It's everywhere right now.
Amazing. And can they follow you on Twitter, social media, et cetera? What's your Twitter handle so people can find you?
Yeah, it's at Manatees and Trees.
Manatees and Trees. Is Anne spelled in trees?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's adorable. Just quick, what's the story of that?
I signed up for Twitter a long time ago.
Yes.
I guess I just like, you know, manatees look a little bit like balloons or something, and they fly up.
I've always loved manatees too.
Yeah.
I never grew up around a body of water where there were ones, but I just always thought they were cute.
They're so cute.
So it works. Okay, so Self-Portrait with Boy by Rachel Lyons.
Yeah.
Amazon, Barnes & Noble, etc. Check it out. Are you working on another book?
I am. I'm working on another book now.
Incredible. Okay, well, we'll have you back when that one comes out.
Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Thank you so much, Rachel Lyons, and thank you, Bookster, as well. Yeah. All right, that's the end of today's show. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, if you liked it, please spread the word. We'll be back here next Friday at noon. Share it with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and also Bold is on all of those, so you can like us there as well. So I'm out of here. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. But for more Bold TV, you can join us on Facebook and Periscope on Tuesdays at 9 a.m. for our business show and Fridays at 10 a.m. for our politics show. Have a fabulous weekend. Have a bold, beautiful weekend, and we will see you next Friday. Ciao.